Hello, Saints, and welcome back to Wakefulness Theology. My name is Messenger Paula, and today I'm back with the next installment of the secret meeting place. So there's so much to talk about today. I can't even go into pleasantries and small talk. It is raining in Paris. It's not good weather, but let's just get to it. May this video uplift Yeshua Hamashiach's holy name. I pray that it is edification for the body of Christ. And Holy Father, please bring us together. Please bring the tribes together in harmony, in unity, and may there be no division between us. May we come together in your holy name and prepare the way for your return. Holy Yahushua, we love you and praise you with all of our hearts. Amen. Okay, so we have tackled these things. Here, pretty much today in this video, we are going to really talk about the ring. So let's get started. Okay, so I'm going to use Nanya to explain these points because they're very, very difficult to explain. And like I said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I think she does a really good job confirming what I've been talking about in this series. So Nanya, I want to say that I'm using her to explain my point, but I am not confirming everything she says because it's too much work. She says a lot of stuff. So I'm only using her to confirm the message that the Most High Father has given me, and that's it. Everything else that she says is up to you, whether you believe it or don't believe it or whatever. I watch her a lot because I find that she's getting the same messages I'm getting. So I hope that's clear. If anything in her messages you don't like or don't agree with, please just put that to the side for the moment. I just want to clarify the message that I'm trying to explain in this video series, okay? So here she's talking about what she does is that she takes the Bible verses and she goes to Strong's Concordance and she uses the other, because every word you have in the translation, you have other options for that word. But the scribes and the people who translated the Bible, they chose whatever word they chose. But the situation is that those people who translated the Bible back in the 1400s or whenever it was, they had no idea about a computer. They had no idea about what we know now, right? They couldn't have possibly understood. It's impossible. The Bible is quantum dimensional, folks, friends, saints, brothers and sisters of the Most High Father. The Bible is quantum dimensional, okay? So a scribe from the 1300s or whatever year it was could not have understood what he was translating, okay? So she goes back to the Strongs. Now we have the computer. We have abilities that we have never had before in the history of human, recorded history of humans. We know that maybe in ancient civilizations, we don't know. I'm not getting into that. It's going to be a long enough video, so let's just keep moving. Human recorded history, this is the first time we've had this ability. So she goes back and she looks at the other meanings of the Hebrew words or Greek words, and she discerns, other variations of what could have been said. And what she comes up with confirms the messages that I get. So look, we're going to roll with this. If you guys don't like her, you don't have to, you don't have to roll with her, but just humor me for a minute to let me show you how I did the video about the Haggai ring and about that whole thing. I'll put it here on the screen. I did this video and then she put out her video directly right after about the same thing, Lord of the Rings and the Haggai verse and the two trees that we were talking about in Zechariah. This is not a coincidence, okay? And even the holy letters line up. I'm going to show you. So I'm getting hype. Come on, let's do this. And in general, she's talking about strange flesh. So her point is that the fallen angels, the Nephilim, that you guys should know about the Nephilim and the fallen angels in the Bible. If you don't know that, please go back and do your research. If you do not know about the Nephilim and the fallen angels, you have to know. So she's talking about how the Nephilim and the fallen angels are using what is called, in her translation, stranger flesh, to hide and cloak their real appearance, okay? And their real appearance are like locusts, and they have sharp teeth.
Do you remember seeing the guys that you were battling, what they looked like?
Yeah, they were actually kind of scary.
They were?
Yeah.
What colors were they?
Mostly kind of gray and red and black and has scrapes on them.
Yeah.
And yellow eyes.
Really?
Yes, and the pets, you don't want to see them because they're sharp and red and they got sharp teeth.
Really?
And so the reason why this is a confirmation to my message is because I told you I had the dream about the garments, right? And not only that, here she's talking about how they specifically use the technology, the microchip, how they're using, they're bending the light to hide their appearance. And this has to do with electromagnetism. And it is giving, and that's what we have right now, though. Isn't it strange that we just have so much Wi-Fi and electromagnetism around us all the time? Electromagnetic fields around us all the time with the computers and everything. It's everywhere. They live through this. They use it to cloak themselves, and probably spiritually they can travel through that, and it's a power for them. I don't know exactly how it works, but this is, being used. Okay, so she's and it's very difficult to explain, but she somehow manages to break it down. Okay, so I'm just gonna let her do that. So she's gonna break that down. More specifically, how these fallen angels, they don't have souls. They've been here for a very long time, and they're hidden, okay? And with, in my understanding, with CERN and these technologies, they're opening the floodgates. Even more of these demonic, transdimensional beings are going to come, and they are going to be disguised in this technology. Now, this technology is symbolically called a ring. A ring. Lord of the Rings. Okay, so they use it to cover their appearance. And so here, if you wanted to read, this is some of the way that she translated a bit differently to understand about the spotted garment, which is strange flesh. And I thought it was weird because of the TV show Stranger Things. Stranger Things, they're talking about other dimensional, extra dimensional, demonic being coming into our world, right? We haven't seen the second season yet, so I don't know what actually happens in the second season, but that's what it's talking about. The TV show Stranger Things, here in the Bible, they're talking about strange flesh. Yeah, right here. Strange flesh. It's going. I know it might not make sense right now. I'll let it play. She'll explain. I just want to point out some things because I've sent 9 to people before and they don't even respond. It's like it just goes right over their head and they're like, they don't even consider it. So I'm hoping that if I, try to point out some stuff beforehand, you'll know what to look for or to be paying attention to. So when it comes to here, she says that the aliens are Pleiadians. I don't have any idea about what the aliens are, who they are, or, I don't know. So that's above my pay grade. Yahushua did not give me any messages about who they are. I do know, though, that our world has been infested and invaded and taken over by extra-dimensional demonic beings who are hidden in what we can't see them. They're hidden in some kind of strange flesh or image technology that is run by, well, in the past, apparently some kind of ring technology, and in our now situation, we have CERN and the electromagnetic fields that are being created that they're somehow able to use and travel through and to use to cloak themselves. Maybe it could even be as far as on, they can be in the internet because they're able to travel, their spirits, they're able to travel through those frequencies, right? So here she's talking about they don't have a soul, and their defiled garments is them wearing human or looking like humans. So she goes to talk about how when it's talking about heathens in the Haggai, but not in this one, it's later in the Haggai verse. It really represents them as locusts because apparently they look like locusts, meaning non-humans, and that really, my spirit felt that they're going to come back. It's not like how we're imagining it. These are these extra dimensional demonic beings. That's how they look, okay? She's also talking about the hallowed thing right here in Haggai, and we talked about that in the TV show, The Legends, because, and just be careful, the legends, the word actually is leg-ins, legends. I'll explain that in 1 minute. And so in that TV show, remember when the guy said it was his holy of holies talking about the Oculus, and I was saying be careful when you hear them using the word holy correctly because they always use it as a cuss word. So here, when she's talking about holy, what it is that what she's saying is that Haggai this is a prophecy about how these demonic multi-dimensional beings, for them that technology is holy, just like in the TV show, just like it said, and that they are using that to as their clothes to hide and like to look like humans and to mix with man. Okay, she talks about the groups of people like we talked about in the Zechariah verse with the olive tree, and how that represents the groups of people and all of that. She talks about all of that, y'all. So come on, let's give Sister Nainani a chance to explain this to you, because she's saying the same thing that I have been saying in all of these videos, but she takes a different take on it, but she's saying the same thing, okay? And the way she comes up with her information is different, but she's saying the same thing. So, because on her timeline, you see right here, it says fly. And we've been talking about flying for I don't know how many videos now. So I've seen this before, but when I saw it this time, it really caught me in a different way, okay? And her timeline is roughly not very far from the hidden Bible timeline that Yahushua showed me. So here is another one of her timelines that I don't think is in this video, but I just wanted to point it out to you guys. We talked about 8-8 in the last video. Here it is. That's why everybody's like, why 2017? What's happening in 2017? What's happening? In 2014, which I told you that's when it started because of the hidden Bible timelines that Yahushua showed me. This is when we had 14 and 16. I don't remember what year. I think it was last year actually, that we had the 8th king in the United Nations, is the 8th person that was elected, and we also had the 8th Vatican Pope, right, with the Pope we have now. So we in the Bible verse there's a prophecy about when the 8th king is ruling or whatever is when everything is going to jump off, and I just saw the 8-8. Okay, that's exactly what we were talking about. And the same time, 2014, boom, drop the microphone, walk away. I wish I had my microphone in here, okay? And right here, we see that as far as her timeline is concerned with the 70 years and all of that, you have to go and let her explain all of this stuff to you. But I just want to show you that it's stopping, it's happening in 2017. So from 2017 to 2019 is starting the manifestation of this, what the battle that's happening in the spirit world is slowly going to manifest in our world, right? Peaking in 2019 and then just going off the chain all the way up until when I assume a large majority of us will be leaving 2032-ish, right? And then of course the 2035 point really being a tipping point of the separation between the two worlds, meaning the AI or the PI, okay? AI or pi. Daniel 7:25, I talked about this in the last video. I just really wanted to point out that not only are they changing the laws and the time with the laws of nature and the time travel and all of that, I just wanted to point out that they have also changed the times just with the Gregorian calendar. You know, everything is not as it was originally. Everything has been changed, even our weekends, everything. The seventh day has been changed, the months have been changed, everything. And the way that we understand the Bible and what has happened and what is supposed to happen in the future has been all mixed up, because a lot of things that are in Revelations have already happened and people are not aware of that. A lot of Daniel has already been fulfilled with Obama and all of the different things. Okay guys, so please forgive me. I pray that I'm being clear. It's not easy to explain this stuff, so I'm just going to let her explain. It's about 9 minutes and I'll come back and make some more points.
Okay, so here's the next clue in Job 38:12-15. It says in the King James translation, "Hast thou commanded the morning since thy days, and caused the dayspring to know his place, that it might take hold of the ends of the earth, that the wicked might be shaken out of it. It is turned as clay to the seal, and they stand as a garment. And from the wicked their light is withholden, and the high arm shall be broken." So that doesn't make much sense in that translation, but when we look at the lexicon with just the original words, verse 14 says, "Overturn clay." So, okay, first of all, we know the clay represents humans. That's in Daniel. So it says, "Overturn clay, signet ring, set as garment." So we've talked about the signet ring before. The ring seems to have something to do with this image technology. And we've seen that in Hollywood movies and Hollywood videos. They're always showing this ring. What is the ring about? It is about the image technology. Okay, but we're not going to talk about that in this video. We've talked about it in other videos. It's in Isaiah as well. So it says, "Overturn clay, signet ring set as garment." In other words, they're overturning the humans, and the ring is what is creating this garment. They're using a ring to set this garment. But then verse 15 says, "Wicked light holds back exalted strength that breaks in pieces." So again, this is referencing the image and the garment. The image that we are told uses light as a deception. In other words, a wicked light. It holds back the exalted strength. So these things are posing as human, but underneath that human image, they are much larger and stronger. Their physique is different. In Job 41, we're given more clues about what they look like under the human disguise. In verse 1, it says, "Canst thou draw out Leviathan with a hook?" So it's talking about Leviathan here, and they will tell you that Leviathan is a sea monster, but it's much more than that. In Job 41, verses 13-17, it says, "Who can discover the face of his garment? Or who can come to him with his double bridle? Who can open the doors of his face? His teeth are terrible round about. His scales are his pride, shut up together as with a close seal. One is so near to another that no air can come between them. They are joined one to another, they stick together, and they cannot be sundered. So first, who can discover the face of Leviathan's garment? It's talking about the image here. Who can open the doors of his face? So to discover the face, it says you would need to know how to open the doors. And remember, we're told in Revelation 13 that the image is made with the mark, and the mark is the microchip. So this is talking about opening the doors of microtechnology. Who can do that? It's asking. And then it says that Leviathan has terrible teeth. So that's a hint. It's saying when you open the doors of the garment, and specifically the doors of the face, you will see the terrible teeth. And remember, it says in Revelation 9 that the locusts have the teeth of lions. And we know the locusts are the heathen, and they are the army from the north. They're also referred to as the dragon. And Revelation 12 tells us to look in the sky to see the dragon. And that's our clue that the Draco constellation, which is in the northern sky, represents the dragon, which is the locusts, which also represents Leviathan and the Satanas. It is the enemy of humanity. Some people call them reptilians for that reason. It even mentions the light in verse 18. Then it says in verse 15, his scales are his pride. And it says these scales are shut up with a close seal. Then down in verse 23, it says these scales are the flakes of Leviathan's flesh. So remember, the strange flesh is spotted. The garment is spotted by the flesh. It is a garment of a human, an image of a human, but that image is spotted by the flesh of Leviathan. It has spots of scales. So right now, there are people on the internet talking about reptilians and how they are disguised as human, but occasionally will shapeshift into their natural form. And these people will even claim that you can see their scales. But what most people don't realize is that this is all in the Bible. It's all part of this ancient prophecy that is coming true right now. So this ancient prophecy has literally told us that we are dealing with aliens. In Isaiah 61 verse 5, it uses the phrase, sons of the alien. But the original word that means alien, number 5236, is most often translated as stranger or strange, and it's all throughout the Bible. So this prophecy is all about aliens taking over our planet, and how it seems they are winning until they die at the asteroid. And they are persecuting the multitude right now. So don't fret if this is happening to you. Know your enemy. Know what they really are. And be glad that they hate you. They are evil, and they hate what is good. So if they hate you, that's a good thing.
If you don't know about shape-shifting, if you don't know about extra-dimensional beings, which we call aliens, if you don't know about the Nephilim, you're missing like a big chunk of the story. Okay, so please make sure you go and look at that. This world, these rulers that we have, they are evil. And so when you're thinking like, how can the world be this way? How can it be so evil? Why do they do? It's because they're evil demons from extra dimensional, another dimension. They're falling angels. They're Nephilim. Okay, they're in human flesh, so we cannot see them, but that's what they are. Okay, now I know you want to try to act like I sound crazy, but once more I ask you, why is CERN looking into different dimensions and trying to find life in other dimensions if what I'm saying is so crazy? That's what they're spending billions of dollars to do right now. Okay. And as Nainanya is pointing out, it's here in the Bible. Okay. And so she's looking in depth, but you really don't have to even look in depth. It's on the surface as well, you know. So let's listen to her next part. It's a little shorter. The next part is like 8 minutes here, and I'll be back. Let's listen.
In addition to this, there's another clue in the form of a riddle in Haggai 2. In verses 11 through 14, it says, "Thus saith the Lord of hosts, ask now the priests concerning the law, saying, if one bear holy flesh in the skirt of his garment, and with his skirt do touch bread, pottage, or wine, or oil, or any meat, shall it be holy? And the priests answered and said, No. Then said Haggai, if one that is unclean by a dead body touch any of these, shall it be unclean? And the priest answered and said, It shall be unclean. Then answered Haggai and said, So is this people, and so is this nation before me, saith the Lord, and so is every work of their hands, and that which they offer there is unclean. So these unclean nations that it refers to are the heathen in verse 22. But notice the word translated as heathen, number 1471, means swarm of locusts. This is extremely important because whenever we see the word heathen in the Bible, it's referring to the locusts, which represent the non-humans. So Haggai 2 is saying that the locusts, in other words, the non-humans who are desolating us right now, are unclean. But it goes much deeper than that by its reference to the holy flesh. This word translated as holy, number 6944, means hallowed, dedicated, or consecrated thing. So it's not referring to something that is necessarily consecrated by God, but simply consecrated by someone. It's a thing that someone worships, a hallowed thing. So this flesh is hallowed flesh. And it says, if one bears this hallowed flesh in their garment, and this hallowed flesh touches bread, pottage, wine, oil, or meat, then that bread, pottage, wine, oil, or meat will become unclean. So we'll put that here. And we know that wine and oil represent the grapes and the olive tree. These represent people, they're groups of people. So it's saying that these groups, these things, will become unclean if it is touched by the hallowed flesh of the garment. Then next, it says that if one that is unclean by a dead body touches any of these, then they will be unclean also. So this clarifies something very important. It clarifies that the one who is unclean by a dead body is the one who wears the garment with the hallowed flesh. And we know that the ones who are defiled by their flesh garments are the angels of Sardis, a specific group of Pleiadians. And they are defiled by those flesh garments because those flesh garments are of dead people. In other words, the locusts, in other words, the Pleiadians, are unclean because they are wearing the dead. And it also says they are murderers in Jude 1. They went in the way of Cain. So they didn't just touch a dead body, they killed these people and replaced them. That's why they will be killed by God in the end, because the Bible says over and over that they are murderers. Also, notice Haggai mentions the seed right after that. In verse 22, it says, Is the seed yet in the barn? The Daniel prophecy explains that in the last days, these non humans will mingle with the seed of humans. That's in Daniel 2:43, which tells us that at the time of the little horn, they will mingle with the seed of men. It doesn't specify who it refers to, but when we connect that timing reference to Daniel 8, 9, and 10, we can see it refers to the army of the stars, the oppressors, which is also called the great dragon in Revelation 12:9, and also the Nephilim in Genesis 6:4. All of this, we are told, occurs when, number one, humans begin to multiply on the earth, which happened between 1927 and 1960. Number two, after the war in the sky, which was after World War II, 1945. Number three, after the rise of the eighth king, the United Nations, which rose up again in 1945. Number four, at the time of the little horn, the nation of Israel, which rose up in 1947. And number five, at the time of the feet and the 10 kings, which were identified in the UN report in 2009. So we are right there right now. We are in the time when the dragon is mingling with the seed of humans, when the army of the stars, the oppressors, are on the earth persecuting the multitude. We are right there now. So in Haggai 2:22, it's referencing the end time, our time. It says, "Is the seed yet in the barn?" The seed refers to the seed of humans in Daniel, the seed of humans that is being manipulated right now. The barn represents the place where Jesus will take the wheat when the stars fall. The wheat are the humans who will be safe at the asteroid impact. So Haggai is asking if the seed, the humans, are safe yet. And it says, "As yet, the vine, the fig tree, and the olive tree have not brought forth." This is important because we know the olive tree represents the two witnesses. That's Revelation 11. And the fig tree represents the nation of Israel, Hosea 9:10. It's saying the two witnesses and the nation of Israel have not brought forth. In other words, they're not in the barn. They have not been saved, which is exactly what the biblical timeline tells us. The two witnesses will be killed at the end of the 1260 years, and the fig tree, the nation of Israel, which is also the little horn, will be going through the final time of trouble. And we know this is about the end time because it says in verse 22 that the kingdom of the locusts will be overthrown on the 24th day of the 9th month, and that is when the fig tree and the olive tree will be blessed. And the locusts, we're told in Revelation 9, come out after the asteroid hits. The locusts are already here, but no one sees them because right now they look human. But in Lamentations 2, we're told that their beauty will be taken away in the day of the Lord, which is the asteroid impact. In other words, their image technology will no longer be working at that time, and any humans remaining on Earth at that time will be able to see them for what they really are. So the locusts coming out of the smoke in Revelation 9 can represent many things, even drones, but on a deeper level, it represents the visibility of these non-humans. So during the final 3.5 years, humans will see the non-humans. They will no longer be disguised. The fig tree and the olive tree right now are too fat and too sweet to be king. Remember, we talked about the sweetness versus the salt last week. The sweetness is the deception. It is the lies. And the salt is the truth. Jesus is the truth, and the salt are Jesus' followers. In Judges 9, 8 through 15, it tells a riddle about the trees. It says, "The other trees said to the olive tree, 'Come thou reign over us.' And the olive tree said no because it didn't want to leave its fatness. And then they asked the fig tree, "Come thou reign over us." And the fig tree said no because it did not want to forsake its sweetness. So the fig tree and the olive tree do not become king. That's important. And the reason is they were too fat and too sweet. That is why Jesus said in Matthew 5 that the blessed are the salt. So in Haggai 2, it's saying that when the blessed go to the barn, the olive tree and the fig tree will be left behind. Then they will either die or go through the final time of trouble and then be blessed on the 24th day of the 9th month.
Okay, so as you can see there, she's just straight out telling you the whole point is to breed us out, is to breed out humans, because we do not fit into what they're trying to do. The little spirits, the sons of Yeshua Hamashiach, we will not be able to go along with their plan. We don't fit in. Okay, they want to breed us out through all kinds of manners, eugenics, pretty much everything that you see going on in our society that makes you go, why is that happening? It's to breed us out. It's to get rid of us, okay? In this video, in the 9 video, she talked about Matthew 13:30, okay? Now, this is urgent, guys. This is proof that what I am saying and what she is, the point that she is saying that's confirming the message the Father has given me is true, okay? It is true. This is proof what I'm about to show you right now. Okay, so here you see a picture of the train, the metro train, and I'm going to play a little bit of the video explaining what this picture is. I put this out at the beginning of the Hidden Bible Timeline. And so when 9 came and pulled up the verse Matthew 13:30, I was just over. Okay, and it is talking about exactly what I am saying to you about the two worlds being separated. Okay, look at this. So dreamed last night. Jesus told me the evil inverse of feed my sheep, John 21:15-17, is eating the sheep. So cannibalism, that is coming back, and he's talking about, and then when I woke up, I understood it's about the cannibalism that's coming back in our society. Now, when I was listening to True News, Steve Quayle was on there, and he's talking about the chapters, Numbers 13:30-33. So that's important because I told you that one of my duties, my main duty, I think, is to read names as God is talking about Numbers 1-2. So that's in the book of Numbers, and so when he said the book of Numbers, my ear was like, doo-doo. Already my ears were like, ah. But I mean, when he said that, it was even extra. Okay, so the thing that tripped me out, I had the same night, I had the dream about Jesus. I was going to my friend's Sean's house for brunch. I'm on the train, getting on the train, listening to True News on my iPhone, right? I told you before, True News is great. You might not agree with his politics. I don't agree with everything that falls out of his mouth either. But the news, oh my goodness, the news that you get on True News, you will get nowhere else. It is important for the body of Christ to know what's going on in these last times, and he be breaking it down. And it just happened to be Steve Quayle was talking about cannibalism. Now, what is the odds? Because he filmed that. They recorded that on the 20th. I didn't hear it till this very, very, very moment, okay? So he's talking, and then he mentions Numbers 13:30-33. And as he says that, I'm listening, I'm listening. And then he says Numbers 13:30-33, and the train pulls up, and y'all will not believe. What is the number on that train? What was the number on that train? 13:33. Okay, so look, it would be it couldn't be any more clear. Look at this. You take off the 0, this becomes 13, right? Here, you got 30, and then you got 33. Don't tell me that's a coincidence, really? You think so? No, it's not. At the very same moment that the man, Jesus just came and told me about the cannibalism warning in the dream. Told me about it. That day, I'm up, dressed, going to my friend's house. The guy on True News is talking about cannibalism, and he quotes the verse Numbers 13, 30 through 33. And at the very instant he says that, the train pulls up with the number 10, 30, 33, which when you take off the zeros, you got 13 and then 30, 33. Stop it. Just stop it. Do you not know my heart was like, I just like went into like a dream world, like, I mean, it was crazy. I was like, this is so real. Okay, so tell me, is that not confirmation of what I'm saying? Matthew 13:30, talking about us being separated out into the barn, and I have more proof coming up. Just hold your horses. Okay, so this ring, in the Haggai verse, it can represent on one side, like the CERN, the ring that the evil ones are using to cloak their identity in the end days, the evil or strange flesh. That is one interpretation of it, but you also have another interpretation of it where it also is used symbolically to represent the chosen, and to represent the ability to travel to the meeting place, to the real meeting place, and to belong to the sons of Yahushua, right? It can represent two things, just as one coin has a good side and a bad side, okay? This ring represents, or can represent, both. So I hope you guys are well. I hope this was clear. It's just so difficult to explain. I just pray that I'm doing a good job. Thank you, Holy Father, for this message. I pray that it uplifts you in your holy name. In Yeshua Hamashiach's holy name we pray. Amen. Holy is Christ and peace. Amen. Have a good day, brothers and sisters. Love you in Christ. Shalom.